Let's not sugarcoat it, something broke inside King Charles. Not a tantrum, not a fleeting mood, but a calculated shift. And if you're Prince Harry, well, you just got hit with the royal version of being ghosted. But this wasn't some silent treatment on WhatsApp. No, this was global. Public freeze-out broadcast in front of the French president. International press, glittering dignitaries. And rolling cameras. Charles stood tall and delivered a glowing tribute nod to both sons. Not even to the family as a whole, but solely to William. Harry's name. Not whispered, not even a polite nod. Just ... Silence. And this wasn't a one-time oversight, it's a pattern. Just last week, on Armed Forces Day, a day meant to honor military service, Charles proudly mentioned his own record. Praised William, and even paid tribute to Prince Philip. But Harry, the royal who did 2 tours in Afghanistan, the most battle-tested of his generation, nothing, not a word. And now, at a royal banquet at Windsor Castle, with President Macron and his wife seated at the table, the same story plays. Out, Charles praises William again, even connecting him to the legacy of the Norman Duke who built Windsor Castle. He's painted as the future, the heir, the symbol of continuity. And Harry, still missing from the picture. Not even a diplomatic. My sons, just heir. This wasn't an accident. It was a message. A deliberate, crystal-clear declaration. Charles has made his choice, and Harry's not in it. This has moved. Beyond messy family politics, this is legacy management. Every word Charles says, every name he includes, every one he leaves out. Tits all strategy. In the monarchy, silence is never just silence. It's loaded. And here's where the irony kicks in. That whole ghosting game. Meghan Markle practically wrote the playbook. Say what you want about her, but she's mastered the art of cutting ties. Her father, half-siblings, even Piers Morgan. One moment you're part of her world, the next you're a stranger watching from the sidelines. And now, Charles seems to be borrowing from the same script. He's drawing boundaries. And Harry wants a prince. Now a podcast dropout with a fading. Netflix contract is suddenly on the outside. The king is speaking loud and clear without raising his voice. My heir is William. I have no second son. This wasn't a quiet snub at a private family gathering. It happened with the world watching. Suits and tiaras, flashbulbs and formalities. It was polished. But make no mistake, it was brutal. And Harry, he felt it deeply. Somewhere in his Montecito mansion. With all its echoing bathrooms and Hollywood quiet, that rejection must have landed hard. Because when your own father acts like you don't exist, all the money and fame in the world can't cushion the blow. Insiders say this rift didn't appear overnight. It's been brewing. Behind palace doors over years of tension, missteps, and headlines. Now, every royal move is tightly choreographed. Every frame, every gesture, every speech is part of one carefully crafted image. William is the future. Harry is history. And the Sussexes. They're not just losing influence, they're losing stability. Reports say they've let go of multiple staff, not because they're simplifying, because they have to. Budgets are tight, revenues slipping. The dream is cracking. And that big Netflix deal? It wasn't the $100 million fantasy people imagined. More like $20 million. Think that's before agents, taxes, production costs. Now Netflix isn't exactly chasing them either. Their current agreement? It's vague, conditional. If you pitch something we like, maybe we'll talk. That's not a partnership. That's a polite brush-off. So while King Charles moves his pieces on the board, solidifying William's rise, Harry and Meghan are left scrambling to keep their crown polished, even as the shine wears off. In this industry, maybe doesn't mean hope, it means death. And that's exactly where things seem to be heading for Harry and Meghan's post-royal dream. Meghan's much-hyped lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, is still stuck. In concept mode, no products, no launch, just curated Instagram photos and cryptic vibes. Her podcast, Dead in the Water. 1 season, few listeners, and no season 2, and Harry's rumored follow-up to spare. Don't hold your breath, there's nothing left to reveal, and even the most curious audience can only revisit the same wounds so many times before they stop caring. Meanwhile, the Montecito mansion, with its $10 million mortgage and 16 bathrooms, isn't paying for itself. Neither is the $2 million annual security cost, the staff, the lawyers, the PR teams, the lifestyle. It's a financial sinkhole dressed in designer. One royal insider put it perfectly. They go through staff like most people go through milk. And it's true since 2020. Over 24 employees have cycled in and out. That's not normal turnover. That's panic behind polished gates. The scariest part, Harry doesn't really have a job. No firm, no business, no stable paycheck. Just a few scattered projects and a shrinking pile of cash. His charity, Centibale, has lost momentum, and that eco-travel company he helped launch, a ghost ship. This isn't a couple running an empire, it's a duo barely keeping the lights on, and the more they try to present a picture of success, the more transparent their struggle becomes. Behind the filters and smiles, there's tension, fear, and a brand slowly unraveling. And Charles, he sees it. But he's not stepping in, he's stepping away. His silence isn't emotional, it's calculated. It's about clarity. By freezing Harry out, Charles is cleaning up the royal narrative, making the line of succession, loyalty, and legacy unmistakably clear. William isn't just the next king. It's being positioned as the steady heart of the monarchy, the devoted son who stayed, who played by the rules, who carried the crown's weight. At that lavish Windsor Castle banquet, Charles didn't just praise William, he canonized him. He drew a historic line from the Norman Duke to his firstborn, embedding William deep into the royal mythos. History, Charles made sure to imply, remembers those who stained, those who leave for podcast deals and Netflix cameras, and that hurt. Not just because Harry wasn't mentioned, but because William was exalted. Charles spoke about how fitting it was that the Prince of Wales had made Windsor his home, invoking continuity and tradition, while Harry, the war hero who walked behind Diana's casket, got nothing. This was royal ghosting with surgical precision. Meghan might have cut people out emotionally, friends, family, even her own father, but Charles is playing on a geopolitical scale. His silence isn't just a snub, it's a strategy. The message is loud and brutal. Harry isn't outside the institution because he walked away, he's out because he lit every bridge behind him. But perhaps the most painful part for Harry is this: the dream he bet everything on is cracking. He thought he was escaping into freedom, reinvention, opportunity, but what he's staring at now is underperformance, instability, and a rapidly fading spotlight. The brand they built, bold, global, independent tease, weakening under the pressure of unmet expectations. Deals are stalling, sympathy is drying up, and even celebrity tabloids like Page Six, once friendly ground, are turning sharp. They were the first to report the staff cuts, the financial strain, and the mirage of a media empire. Insiders now say the Sussex operation feels less like a rising media brand and more like a flailing startup slick logo. Big pitch, no product. And inside the palace, they've moved on. Harry and Meghan still grab headlines, but among the royals, they're not in the room, not in the plans, not even footnotes. No invites to key events, no appearances, not even background figures. It's as if they've been carefully airbrushed out of the royal portrait. Even Macron and Brigitte, caught in their own awkward public freeze as cameras filmed her pulling away from his hand, looked more united than the Sussexes. Because despite the cold moments, they're still in the game, still standing beside Charles and Camilla, still part of something bigger. It's what Harry gave up: the structure, the armor, the system. And now, that walk into freedom looks more like a walk into fog. No second memoir, no guaranteed Netflix future, no glitzy appearances. That Montecito fantasy is starting to shimmer like a mirage. And when you step back, zoom out, it all points in one direction: solitude. Charles isn't punishing his son with silence. He's making peace with a new royal order. William is the future. William is the family. And Harry, he's just a name. Fading quietly into the background, title intact, but legacy slipping away.